up, everyone? Welcome to the State Phillies Sports History for August 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Happy Sunday, everyone. It's a new week. The Phillies actually played all three aspects of the game yesterday. I don't know if it was the little, if you can believe it, you can achieve it rant, but hey, let's continue to imagine Garrett Stubbs with the Budweiser box on his head on top of the Art Museum steps, singing, dancing on our own, and hopefully we can continue to go. But what a day. What a good win. Good to see Ranger back. I think of all the things that happened yesterday, to me, Ranger being back and looking very good. Fastball and velocity was down slightly. However, his command was on point. He went 5 innings, 6 Ks, and just looked like the old Ranger. So hopefully that is a sign that he's going to get rolling, which I really don't think during this stretch, for the most part, save a couple random outings here or there, it's been the pitching, it's been the hitting. So it is good, though, to have Ranger back. That was huge, and it almost sparked the team. We have a JT sighting after we put his face on the back of a milk carton the other day. We found him. 2 home runs, 7 RBI, tied Chooch's record for Phillies catchers for RBIs in a game. We have a Trey Turner sighting. We found him. He had 3 hits. We have a Bryson Stott sighting. He went 4 for 4. So let's keep putting those. Let's keep Bryce's face on there, because I don't know if this is the real Bryce or an imposter. Let's keep Brandon Marsh on there, who didn't look too bad. Let's keep him on there. Certainly, Bohm's the only guy that didn't get a hit last night, but that's all right. He's been good. So I'm not ready to say them back. We've made that mistake 2 or 3 times already. However, it's very encouraging to see that, and the fact that it was with Ranger Suarez on the mound. Hopefully that's going to provide a lift. And Ranger, I love Ranger. So the fact that he is there and back and looked close to the old Ranger, that is a good sign. The bullpen was solid. What a difference a day makes with this team. And the issue is, we know that games like this, 11-2, are in there. It's just a matter of getting them out consistently, especially heading into September. I will take it, though. Braves did win, so the lead in the division is still 5. Milwaukee won, so the Phillies are still tied with them, but technically they have a 1-game lead due to the tiebreaker. And the Dodgers lost, so they're only 2 games back for the number 1 seed. I guess I was going to start this September 1st, but since things have gotten so tight, we'll check the standings every day so we kind of know where we're at. But, I mean, honestly, things get I feel so much better about the day today now that the Phillies played that. Tough one today. Kobe Allard's going for the Phils against Seth Lugo. But let's keep it rolling. Hopefully, I don't think there's many pitchers that, if we're rolling on offense, it can really shut us down. The issue is just keeping it consistent. So let's keep rolling. Let's root for the Nationals. We'll root for the Dodgers to lose. I forget who they're playing, and as well as Milwaukee. But if you believe it, I keep messing up the line. I don't know what's going on, but if you can believe it, you can achieve it. So just keep that picture of Garrett Stubbs on top of the Art Museum step on the victory parade with a Budweiser box on his head, and we'll be fine. But good win. They play today at 2. Just a reminder, the watch party with John Kruk has been postponed. John had some family issues that he had to go back to West Virginia to deal with. So sending prayers out to him and his family. I'll keep you posted when that occurs. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott, Twitter, and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, all of them. You can interact with me there. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott, and just spread the word. A lot of this is word of mouth, and let's keep growing this thing as we approach year 2. I've been busy at work, so I got to start planning September yet, so I'm not sure what is in store, but I'll start working on that this week. But spread the word, and I appreciate it. And even though Philly Goat is not having the John Kruk watch party today, you can still go support Krucker, and there's a few different items and shirts on there that if you buy those shirts, The 10% of the sale will go to the Battle Brothers Foundation, which is a great organization that does a lot of good things for our veterans. So go support Crucker, even though he couldn't be there in person today. He's dealing with some family stuff, but we can still support him by buying some shirts and supporting Battle Brothers. And then do some of your back to school shopping while you're there too. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. And go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10%. And go buy a Crux shirt today and help our brother out. And then in the process, help out some of our veterans with the Battle Brothers Foundation. And then give my boys over the Clashing Conferences podcast a listen. They're doing great things. They're gearing up for football. I'm sitting in with them on Wednesday for a baseball episode, which I believe they release on Friday. But I'll keep you posted on that. Doing good things over there. And that's wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. All right, so the Eagles preseason is over. They lost 26-3 yesterday. Who cares? I mean, really, who cares? But some takeaways from that game that I thought were interesting. Cooper DeJean saw some time, had 3 tackles and an assist. So good to see him get some low-level NFL action. I guess it's like a step up from what he did at Iowa, but we'll take that as he gears up to hopefully have a big role. Jahan Dotson had his press conference yesterday, and it was interesting. He's like, I understand it's a business. It's just a game. Well, it's a business. I'm all good until we play Washington. So look for him. I think he's going to have a big season for the Phillies, or for the Eagles. So he's geared up. He's ready to go, and he's got those Washington games circled on his calendar. And then the other oddity, I guess you could say, is Nolan Smith played. And he said he chose to play. It kind of came out that maybe he didn't. I don't know. He was like, the more work I get, the better I will be. Maybe the coaches wanted to see more out of him. Is this a move that maybe Howie's looking for another pass rusher? I don't know. Is it time to start worrying about Nolan Smith, who should have a larger role on the defense this year? I don't know yet, but there is a lot of people were pretty split on this, saying he sucks. Then there were a lot of people that were comparing him to Brandon Graham, which, I mean, that's lofty, but I do remember early in Brandon Graham's career, he kind of had that label as a bust. But I don't know if it's fair to compare him to Brandon Graham yet. However, I do think if Nolan, or we've been talking about Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and yesterday Bryce Huff, if those guys are having big years, I think that should open it up for Nolan Smith as well. Howie's got a couple weeks here before the first game. I think he's going to be looking as the teams cut down their rosters, which is 4 on Tuesday. But I don't know. I mean, if he wanted, either way, I don't think it hurt Nolan Smith to play. And if it is more of the coaches aren't convinced on him, maybe that's the motivation he needs. So I'm perfectly fine with it. But we'll see how it goes. Next time we see the Eagles, it'll count for real. We will see the first team offense, Jalen Hurts, the new and improved. We'll see Saquon Barkley, Jahan Dotson, AJ. Everybody will be live, and I cannot wait. We'll have more on the Eagles later in the show. Union today take on Colorado down at Subaru Park for the third place game in the Leagues Cup. If they win this, which they have a legitimate shot to, they will get a spot in next year's CONCACAF's Champions Cup, which is pretty cool. I mean, but bonus soccer basically. But that's today at 3 against Colorado down at Subaru Park. All right, today we're going to go back to 1995. And on this day in 1995, Phillies beat the Dodgers 17-5 at the Vet. Jeff Juden, remember him? He pitched a complete game, had 2 strikeouts, 4 walks, but also hit a grand slam. And that's not the big story. Excuse me. The big story was Gregg Jefferies hit for the cycle that day. It was the 7th time in Phillies history, 6th player to do it. It was the first time since 1963 when Johnny Callison did it. Since then, we know David Bell's done it, JT done it, and Weston Wilson just did it the other day. But Gregg Jefferies went 4 for 5 with 5 RBIs. And with Gregg Jefferies, it's kind of a complicated tenure in Philly. A lot of people will put him up there as one of the biggest free agent busts in Philly's history. But I mean, he hit 287, 37 homers, 95 doubles in 4 years, which is not spectacular, but far from horrible. I think he gets lumped in because he was supposed to come in and be a superstar, or we were all expecting him to be a superstar, and he played on some pretty bad teams. And I think that kind of gets lost in that when people say, oh, Gregg Jefferies is a bust. And again, I'm not saying he's the superstar or anything, but he could have meant more. But I mean, there was a lot of just dreck and terribleness surrounding him. So hard to put that 100% on Jefferies, but I think because he made the money, that's what people kind of expected. Also played with Lenny Dykstra, who I heard a story the other day that Dykstra absolutely hated Gregg Jefferies. So I'm sure that didn't make things comfortable while they were here. And another bonus Gregg Jefferies stat, one of the few Greggs that I know that have 2 G's in his name. In fact, only one other Gregg I know spells their name with 2 G's, and that is my cousin. So just a little bonus fun fact there on Gregg Jefferies. But on this day in 1995, Gregg Jefferies hit for the cycle at Veterans Stadium in the Phillies' 17-5 win over the Dodgers. All right, 20 questions in 20 days about the Eagles. Yesterday, we talked about Bryce Huff, and I asked you if you think he's going to live up to his contract. 70% of you said he will. I don't know if I'm 70% optimistic. I'm hoping he will. I think that's one of the bigger question marks about the defense. I think if he does live up to the contract, it's going to be good for the Eagles defense. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. There'll be another one later in the show. All right. Today we're going to look at backup tight end, and kind of was an issue last year. Goddard missed some time last year, and during that time, that was one of the – I think it kind of coincided when he missed some of those games with the offense starting to struggle, and there wasn't really a good backup. If you remember how he brought in Albert O, he brought in a couple guys that just didn't necessarily pan out. On the roster currently, Grant Calcaterra, Albert O, and E.J. Jenkins. It does look like Calcaterra is going to get the nod at backup tight end. Albert O probably will get signed somewhere. Jenkins probably will end up on the Eagles practice squad. But for me, the Eagles have always had a history of good tight ends and having sort of that next guy in the wings. And if you go back to Chad Lewis, way back with Andy Reid, it was Chad Lewis and then L.J. Smith sort of slid in there. Right around this part of where Dallas Goedert is in his career too. And then from L.J. it went to Brent Selleck. Very similar situation. Then Brent Selleck to Zach Ertz. And then from Ertz now to Goddard. So there's always been the tight end in waiting, I guess, for the Eagles. Is Grant Calcaterra that guy? I don't know. And I think it's Dallas Goedert, I think, has missed time in every season except for his first. So, yes, we have all of those weapons, but I'm concerned at backup tight end. And I know it's a random spot to have a concern about with a team with so many weapons as the Eagles. But I think with Kellen Moore's offense, the tight end plays a big part in it. And I just don't know. Is Grant Calcaterra that guy? And it's sort of like that legacy of tight ends for the Eagles. And is he the guy that's going to kind of step in as Dallas Goedert sort of winds down? Not that I think Goddard is in any danger of getting ready to retire or losing a step. I look for him to have a breakout season. But we've always had that guy. And I don't know if Grant Calcaterra is that guy. So that is today's question of the day. Is backup tight end an issue for you, or is Grant Calcaterra just the next man up and he's going to just step in and be like how L.J. Smith was, Brent Selleck, Zach Ertz, and then Dallas Goedert? Let me know. 267-495-8531 will get you in to the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that, anything else Philly sports related off your chest. Want to rant about the Phillies, want to cheer about the Phillies, whatever you got to do, it's all fair game. You want to yell at me for something? That's fine too. I've had some interesting voicemails and text messages come through. It's fun. So you have an issue with me, that's the place to get it out. 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. But the question of the day is Grant Calcaterra the next in line, or is backup tight end an issue for you with this Eagles team? I don't think it's a top 3 concern, but I certainly have it like top 5, top 6 concern, because we know based on his career history, Dallas Goedert's going to miss some time. And there hasn't been, when Dallas Goedert has gone down, there hasn't been that guy that's been able to step in. So it is a concern. Does it even matter? That's something to think about as well with everybody else they have on the team. But call me or text me on the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. That will get you in. But Grant Calcaterra, are you comfortable with him as backup tight end, or is this an issue? Let me know your thoughts. Also, let me know your thoughts on Nolan Smith. I didn't really think twice about it. I'm like, dude, let him play more. And if it's going to be something that motivates him, by all means, let him have it. But a lot of people were making a big deal about Nolan Smith playing in the preseason game. So that's all fair game. Good luck to the Union today as they take on Colorado for third place in the Leagues Cup. On this day back in 1995, Gregg Jefferies hit for the cycle, 7th time in Phillies history, 6th separate player to do it. Remember, Chuck Klein did it twice. And the Phillies beat the Dodgers 17-5 at the Vet on this day. Want to get some Gregg Jefferies hate? Want to give me some Greggs that have 2 G's in their name? All of that is fair game today. We're going to have a little bit of fun on a Sunday. Next time we see the Eagles, though, it will be for real. I cannot wait. This is hands down my favorite time of the year. The anticipation of what's going to happen. We had real college football yesterday. A lot of surprises, too. Florida State went down. Many people thought they had a shot to make the playoffs, but, man, losing to Georgia Tech, that is not good. Local teams, Temple is going to be terrible this year. If you count Penn State as a local team, we know what's going to happen with them. They'll probably get into the playoff this year because it expanded to 12 teams. And then James Franklin will choke on the big stage. But we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it positive today. Good luck to the Phillies as well. Let's take this series against the Royals and start getting everything to kind of start sinking. And who knew Ranger was such a vital cog to this team? But if you believe it, you can achieve it. Just keep picturing Stubbs with the Budweiser box on his head and the stupid overalls singing Dancing on Our Own on top of the Art Museum steps. And if it keeps working for the Phillies, let's keep it rolling. Go have yourselves a Sunday. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 25th, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.